Welcome to the Tuckcast with a splash of bourbon, presented by Tuckasegee Fly Shop and Guide Service, located at 3 Depot Street, Bryson City, and 530 West Main Street, Silva, North Carolina. Tuckasegee Fly Shop and Guide Service is your number one stop prior and after your epic fly fishing adventure in western North Carolina. Tuckasegee Fly Shop and Guide Service proudly carries industry-leading brands such as Sims, Orvis, Corkers, Sage, Rio, Scientific Anglers, Hatch, Nautilus, Lamson, Fish Pond, Scott Fly Rods, Echo, Umpqua, Hairline, Nature's Spirit, Peak, Norvice, plus a large selection of flies and streamers. Check out www.tuckflyshop.com for stream flow information, book a guided trip, or even shop for your favorite Tuckasegee Fly Shop gear. Follow the crew on Facebook at Tuckasegee Fly Shop, Instagram at Tuck Fly Shop, and on YouTube at Tuckasegee Fly Shop. Here in our Silva studios today, we have Coach Del Diesel Collins, Bobby, the Bearded Wonder Bennett, and I'm your host, Shannon, Big Mess Messer. Let's jump in to today's episode.
Nuts.
Welcome to today's podcast. Dell has already chimed in. Oh, that's a heck of a segue. That is not what this episode is about, by the way, but hopefully everybody now, we have your attention.
Mic check.
Mic check 1, 2. We'll leave it at that. Don't go any further, Dell. But everybody, welcome back to the Tuckcast this week with a splash of bourbon. Looks like the guys here have a splash of beer.
Yeah, it's beer 30 today.
In the new pint glasses.
Yes.
I can't
So
do it justice. Hold on.
let's see here. They're trying to hold up these awesome
There it
new
is.
Tuckasegee Fly Shop, official Tuckasegee Fly Shop pint glasses that we have here at the shop. So if
To
you're
be clear, on online orders for these,
okay,
we do not guarantee that they're not going to be broke by the time they get to you. Because I don't know how the UPS man or Postal Service lady might treat the box.
We'll pack them well.
Yeah.
10-4. So we do have those in the shop. Those came in today. Another official item there, which is really nice. Be nice, a great accessory to a cabin that you might have here, or a nice little gift, as well as our coffee mug, soup mug, whatever we call those things.
Oh, do we want to show that? Hold on. Hold it up.
You know what this also does?
Put it more out that way. There you go.
This mug here also allows you to drink bourbon when you're on Zoom calls. Does that make sense? Like, instead of drinking out of a low ball, where it's like obvious you're drinking bourbon,
Right.
you can have a Zoom call with that and still
Sure.
drink bourbon.
Absolutely.
Just saying.
Yeah, I got you.
Never done that before.
Right. I understand that for sure.
He always thinks of those crazy things.
Good deal. Well, excellent. Man, we had a great episode last week. The response was overwhelming. Just want to remind you folks there, if you're listening to this on the audio format, understand that you can go to our YouTube channel and you can watch the video portion of this. If you haven't already done so, be sure to check that out anyway. Subscribe to that if you'd like to. We really appreciate that. A lot of the other podcasts are on there, as well as a lot of other great information. But this week, we're going to jump back into our series that we had been discussing previously. We had hit some of the local delayed harvest waters. We had hit some of the stuff in the national park. And we're going to jump into a bit about hatchery supported here in our general area, not doing the entire state, of course, but we're just going to kind of hit some stuff there for sure. Now, public service announcement. One of the things that you have to understand is that Hatchery Supported will close the month of March and will reopen the first month in Saturday. With that being said, is the fact that everything else is open.
Sure.
That includes delayed harvest waters, wild waters, undesignated waters, the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, the Blue Ridge Parkway. Those waters remain open. So when it says hatchery supported waters are closed the month of March, there are still thousands of miles of fishing opportunities for you out there. That's one of the number one calls we get at the shop, and that's okay. We don't want to see you get a ticket. But we just want you to understand that you can still fish the month of March as long as you're not in a space designated with a white sign with a green stripe through the middle of it.
So you mean I can't fish delayed harvest in March?
You can fish delayed harvest in March as long as you are in the delayed harvest boundary.
You can.
As long as you are in the delayed harvest boundary.
Okay.
I'll say that one more time.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to jump into today.
Cool.
Another thing while we're kind of laying the law down here. So the Upper Nantahala, they're doing maintenance on the gates on the dam on Lake Nantahala, and they are spilling water over. So it's going to read on the gauge, 900 CFS or so on Hewitt. But the Upper Nantahala is going to be probably a really great place to kayak for the next 2 weeks. Word on the street is they're ending that March 7th is when they plan. And this is all coming from the Duke Energy website, special announcements side. So, they stock it when?
I don't know the exact date.
I think it's
here.
within. I think the stocking date.
Are you? Let me ask you a question. Are you talking about the stocking of the delayed harvest?
Delayed harvest, yes.
They are stocking most of the delayed harvest waters within that first week to 10 days.
So I'm saying
It's like the 5th.
So all right, so they're still going to be dumping 1,000 CFS water on top of Upper Nantahala.
Okay.
And they're going to still stock. I don't think that's smart.
I see what you're saying.
All them fish are just going to go right down the lower where we can't fish them in the month of March.
I see what you're saying then.
Just saying.
Gotcha.
But yeah, y'all be careful on the Upper Nantahala. Might be a good time to swing streamers or something like that. But, don't fish the lower Nantahala. That's hatchery supported.
Right.
But from the powerhouse up, delayed harvest. You can fish that all March. So,
correct.
But it's going to be tough the first week. So just want to let people know about that.
Good point. Very, very
absolutely.
good point. Absolutely. I was doing some research. Then we got a lot of other stuff here. I may be getting ahead of myself a little bit. Some public service announcements that we'll hit, as well as a fishing report and a guide tip. But I was pulling some information for this. I counted on the North Carolina Wildlife.org website under the fishing tab. There are 168 hatchery supported boundaries for mountain trout.
That's cool.
It's a few.
That's a few.
That's a lot of places you can't fish in the month of March.
I wonder how much mileage that is, like of streams.
It didn't say. Didn't search that either. But I just did just that designation, all the counties, and then counted line for line.
I think I had heard it's over 1,000 miles of hatchery supported that they stock. So that's a lot. I think it's how many miles of delayed harvest? 500 maybe.
Oh, I don't even.
I have no clue.
I have no clue.
21 delayed harvests. 8. I'd say it's a few hundred for sure. So
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I
but
don't
yeah,
know.
163 places that
68.
168.
Was it 168?
168. Yes.
168. Oh,
Jackson County has 12 areas. Haywood County has 5. Swain County, 4. Graham County, 10.
wow. I didn't know that.
10 areas
Like
in
this
Graham
count.
County. Macon has 7. So those are the ones I've written down because that's kind of the area that folks that come in here are looking to fish.
Yeah.
But that's Graham is up there.
Yeah. That's a lot of water.
Yeah.
Well,
think
yeah,
about
Tallulah, and it's a lot of long water. Like Tallulah, it's several, 10, 12 miles there.
Yeah.
You think about Scotts Creek, too. It's hatchery supported, and it goes from the Tuck all the way up the mountain, 10 or 12 miles. Alarka over in
Yes.
Swain, it's another
Conley's.
long creek. Yeah, Conley's. I will say, though, like some of these, you bring up a good point, Bobby. Conley's winds through the golf course, too. It's like I've looked at it, you could probably run a golf cart through it. So some of these hatchery supported streams you could literally jump across. So I don't know. Like, are they really hatchery supported? Are they really doing it?
I've caught some nice fish on Collins Creek.
There you go.
There it is. You heard it, folks, right here.
I've caught some nice fish on Collins Creek. Yes.
I've never fished Conley's Creek.
Yeah.
Never tried.
Mm-hmm.
You go above the golf course?
I fish below.
Below it?
Yes, below it.
I mean, there it's like 15 foot wide, right? 10.
It's not quite
15?
that wide. No,
Before
it's
the
not.
meth lab or after?
No, there's a campground.
Oh!
Nice campground, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there really is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Collins Creek's pretty.
Oh, it's a nice place. I'm
Yeah.
joking about the meth lab.
Yeah. No Dale getting into that.
Yeah, I mean, anytime I've driven, I've never felt like it was weird.
Yeah.
Golf course. I've never played that golf course. But
It's
No,
fun.
No.
You want to go play it? I'll go with you. Take Bryson.
we should take Shannon too.
I guess.
I drive the cart.
You gonna slide down that par 3? And
I
flip it?
drive the cart, baby.
They flip them carts regularly out there.
Do they? Yeah. There you go. Well, perfect. So let's just kind of look at this here right quick. And one of the things you need to understand about the regulation is it goes from the first Saturday in April to the last day of February. Hands down. Just make sure you understand that.
That you can fish it.
Correct. It's open from the first Saturday in April. So if April 1 happens on a Tuesday, the season will not open until Saturday. So that's going to
green means go in April.
First Saturday.
first Saturday in April.
First Saturday in April.
First Saturday in April. That will get people too, because they
What's-
think April 1.
What's the first Saturday in April?
That's what let me look.
Pull that up so we can tell everybody, hey, this is the day that it opens.
Yeah, that will get some people sometimes, and they think April's here, I can go fish. First
Hey,
Saturday in April.
when they get that ticket on April 1st,
Man,
they can.
they ain't no April Fool's joke.
That's what I was about to say. The wildlife officer can be like, April Fools, it ain't open.
Not absolutely. That's right. It's not open. But it goes all the way through, the last day in February.
Ooh. April 2nd.
Okay.
So
all right.
open
So
on
this
April
year,
2nd.
so this year
Yeah.
it works out to where's the
Oh,
second?
wait. No, sorry. I'm looking at a new calendar here.
Oh gosh,
Sorry.
Uh-oh.
misinformation. Hold on.
April 3rd.
April 3rd.
Okay.
is the
Well,
first Saturday.
yeah. Okay. There we
Because
go.
it messed me up because it said, I said April 2nd, then I noticed it said Good Friday.
Oh, yeah. That's not
That's
not a
not
Saturday.
Saturday.
That's right.
So,
Yeah. So keep that in mind. The other thing is when Hatchery Supported is open, there is no minimum size if you want to harvest fish, and your daily limit is 7. So daily limit is 7, no size limit, and there's no bait or lure restriction either in those particular places.
mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind.
And technically, as of the first Saturday in June, all the delayed harvest streams turn to hatchery supported.
Yeah, we're really
Regulations.
going to confuse them, but yes,
But
absolutely.
I'm just saying that's part of
no,
the
but
regs.
it's right. It does go to that
So
regulation.
those hook restrictions and stuff change first
Now-
Saturday in June.
If you're fishing somewhere, there's no designation. It's still a limit of 7.
Yes.
No matter where you're at in North Carolina, the max is 7.
Correct.
Trout.
Yes. Don't go in there and just trying to fill you igloo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, just don't. Just be respectful anyway.
that's right.
Yep. Absolutely. So that's an important thing, and we certainly get asked that. It's some of the signs can be a little bit confusing, and we understand
Well,
that.
and I feel like, North Carolina Wildlife, they do a great job on most things. But I do feel like in this, they, not intentionally, but it causes confusion.
I agree.
If they would just change the name to something else besides hatchery supported, it
Yeah.
would help.
'Cause I feel like
tremendously.
Hatchery supported
think.
implies any creek that gets support from the hatchery.
Yes.
That should be like delayed harvest gets support from the hatchery.
That
Exactly.
might clarify some of that confusion because people know, hey, they're stocking in October and November and March,
Yeah.
April, May. It's supported,
Yeah.
Yes.
so it
Yeah.
could be closed, and there is a lot of confusion on that.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I mean, really, it'd be just change that name and it would help a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What would you change the name to?
This one gets fish in the summer.
I would. So if it's delayed harvest,
Catch and keep.
Catch and keep.
Catch and keep.
put and take. Shit,
I'm just I'm
you get
looking
like
at
that
Yeah.
eyes rolling in the back of your
Yeah.
head when I say
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that is. I would like to know, listeners, if you're listening, hey, drop us a comment on the YouTube down below. Let us know what you think it should be, or, that we'd like to hear. Certainly,
Yeah.
let us know.
Open season.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the
I mean,
movie.
fish can
That's a good
do
movie.
anything other
Yeah.
than 7
Mhm.
trout, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you're right. If they did change the wording of
help.
it, it would help. Very good point. Very, very good point.
Well, if it's delayed harvest, that's not delayed. So it's harvest waters.
Harvest waters. There you go.
Ah,
Harvest waters.
And then that would help
work.
people understand delayed harvest waters.
And then harvest waters are closed month of March till the first.
it could be it.
all right,
we could-
anybody on NC Wildlife, if you're listening, there it is. I was thinking we need to get some NC Wildlife people on here.
Yeah,
We should in the month of March. There's nothing going on for them, right?
that's right. It's closed.
It's closed. They got sabbatical for the month
Getting
of
ready
March.
for that turkey season.
Well, so that's what's confusing is they don't
Yeah.
stock in the month of March, right?
So as I was pulling the information today for all the counties, there was no stocking date scheduled for the month of March
For hatchery supported.
for hatchery supported waters. However, there's stocking dates for delayed harvest waters. Let's be clear about that. But as a child, my understanding of why the waters were closed the month of March was so the state could stock the waters.
Yeah.
This does not validate what I was told as a little
Mhm.
kid.
Yeah.
Maybe it was back then, but these regulations haven't changed in eons.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing.
And that's exactly why they
Yeah.
won't change, is because that's the way they've done it.
Yes.
And there's no science to it. So I'm just being blunt now.
Yeah. Well, that's where, you know, you look at the regulations that change on the wildlife side of things around here seem to be more geared toward hunting. Very little, if not any, toward the fishing part of it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the frustrating part from our end, and I think from anglers' end. You know, where is the biology going
But
into
what do they
this?
make the most money off writing tickets? It's fishing.
I'm sure because there's more people partaking in fishing than there is hunting.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Yeah.
say. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I would say
That first
Now,
Saturday in June.
Maybe the
they make-
fines are higher in hunting.
That's
maybe
what I was
they're
about
more
to say.
excessive.
Maybe you know, yeah, the fine's a little.
Maybe
higher,
look at
so.
how many are written versus take the dollar amount, but how many tickets are written for fishing versus
No, it's probably
angling
much
versus
greater.
hunting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Just saying.
Well, at least
Oh, yeah.
up here, down east, maybe not. You know, I mean, people
Okay.
fish down there, but the regulations down east aren't as.
I can tell you on that coastal recreational fishing license,
Yeah.
they're making some money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
now,
the
the coast-
CRFL.
the tidewater stuff, yes, but I'm talking about like people fishing their farm ponds in eastern North
Yeah.
Carolina.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
And we just think about a couple of years ago when they did away with the trout stamp.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
how
know, for
confusing that was
non-resident,
for
that was
everybody.
very confusing. And before, for a resident, you had to get a comprehensive fishing license, which gave you access to mountain trout
Yeah.
waters. That's gone as well. As you just got to have the inland fishing
But
license.
that's one of those things they did that like cleared up the confusion.
it
And
did.
it's the same thing of like changing the name would clear up a lot
Yeah,
of confusion.
it did. Hmm.
So it definitely helps.
Yeah.
To just it's that simple. Like change something,
Sure.
make it a little better for everybody.
But
Yeah.
they won't because that's how they've done it for 40 years.
there you go.
Right. Exactly. That's the problem.
Yeah. I wonder if we could have someone from NC Wild and be this blunt with them. Like, why won't you consider doing it this way? I don't know. Just be very candid, you know?
The hunters do.
Yeah.
And they have an association in a lot of cases where we don't have that voice.
Yeah.
We need that voice. So yeah. We may be reaching somebody right now. Hopefully we are. Well, perfect. Perfect. Well, with that being said, we know that there's a lot of opportunities
Yeah.
Yeah.
for fishing some waters here.
So do we want to go through some of the names?
I
of the
think we
creeks?
should go through some of the
Yeah.
things there. Absolutely.
So, well, let's start with this. What are some places we can fish in March? Here.
Here?
Mhm.
All right. Here in Jackson County, you can fish the delayed harvest
Right.
section of the Tuckasegee, which is going to be the one where a lot of folks are coming to.
Yeah.
That is correct.
That's the 107 bridge down to
To-
Dillsboro.
Falls.
Did they change that to the falls?
Yes, it's been to the falls.
And they've actually got a marker
It's marked
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
good down there.
Yeah.
Above the falls.
because it used to say the dam, and then they blew the dam up.
So
And
they
it was
did
like a
change it to the falls pretty quick. on that.
ambiguous.
I give them credit. They did change that.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
correct. Well, in the Tuckasegee, that's where you're at.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I also don't want to get redundant here, but we did this like a couple episodes.
Oh,
ago.
when I had COVID,
yeah.
and y'all didn't call me.
Yeah. So I don't want to go through all this again. I think we should.
I just
want to
make it clear in March.
Yeah, that's the one
Delayed
place.
harvest are open.
Delayed harvest are open.
What about the national park?
Come fish the national park.
National parks open, and those things right there. But I think if we look here, what our opportunities. Let's throw March out the window because we're kind of past that.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. So let's just start looking at the opportunities of that what we have here. Excuse me, I'll get it out in a minute. The opportunities we have here locally, here in Silva, Jackson County. The closest one we could walk to would be Scotts Creek, of course, which is Hatchery supported, runs right through town.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's awesome. It's a great fishery. It's close. It's urban, I guess would be the right way to put it. So don't think like it's super. I mean, it's really pretty, but it's not super scenic like you would get in the national park, you know. So that may be, if that's what you're looking for, Scotts Creek ain't it. Right. Except for like up towards the gorge.
The gorge is.
The gorge is pretty.
You better phone a friend though.
Yeah, phone a friend.
Yeah,
it's a gorge.
Don't go alone.
Good point.
So that's maybe something to kind of consider. But as far as fish, man, it's got a ton of fish in it. A lot of wild fish.
I think it's the most overlooked creek in Jackson County.
There are things to consider. It does have, especially down here through town, there's some metal and stuff like that you got to be aware of in the water. And
I mean, it's got 150 years of development on it.
Yeah.
There's going to be things.
So there's going to be some trash, stuff like that. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things that we all deal with, right? So, but overall, it's a good creek. I mean, it's 20 feet wide or so, I'd say.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, is that about right?
Couple lanes.
Yeah, couple
lanes.
Yeah, I mean, it's one way to look at it. A couple of automobile lanes is a good way to.
That's how we're going to measure creeks.
The gauge.
And we're calling them harvest waters.
I'll say, you see that street right there? It's about that wide.
I always like to say it was wide as this room.
That's
I can't see it, but yeah, absolutely that. Then there's a lot of hatchery supported sections on the Tuckasee Jig course above the DH and below the DH that run quite a long ways, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
At the up toward Dark Ridge, there's some hatchery supported waters up through there as well. And all this stuff is online.
It is.
ncwildlife.org. Go to the fishing link. Go to where to fish. Select mountain trout waters, and you can select the type of water you're looking for. And if you're looking for a specific county, you can select that county only, and it will give you a listing just for those particular counties.
Yeah.
And you can also used to be able to get Google Maps on there because they no longer do the printed maps. That's where that information is. So all this stuff is online. We just can't feasibly hit every name of every creek.
Cite your source.
I did.
Online, right there in
ncwildlife.org.
That's what you did.
ncwildlife.org.
www.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite places around here that are hatchery supported, whether it's in Jackson County, Swain, Haywood, like that? Where are some of your favorites still?
I like Savannah Creek, Greens Creek. No, I'm just kidding.
I had the poker face.
Lower Moses Creek.
Those are both hatchery supported.
It's not hatchery supported either.
No, that's not.
Yeah.
It used to be hatchery supported. It was Katy Fork, right?
Yeah. So, that's what you were saying, and I was unaware of that. I think you were saying that last week.
I think when I was in college, early 2000s, I'm pretty certain that was hatchery supported, and they took it away because, it's so parceled up. But I don't know, man. I love Scotts Creek. I think that's probably the best one we've got.
Okay.
That's designated hatchery supported. It's pretty diverse.
Yeah. It is.
So
for just Jackson County.
Yeah. Now the prettiest.
Well, it's not prettiest. It's what you like.
So what is the prettiest then?
I think the prettiest hatchery supported in the state of North Carolina is Wilson Creek.
Okay.
Down there in the gorge.
Yeah, it is.
Where it's just plunge pool after plunge pool after plunge pool.
But around here.
Around here, the prettiest. Oh man. Alarka.
Alarka is one of those creeks it's not on a lot of people's radar.
No. Well, there's a lot of houses on it.
There's a lot of houses, but Alarka
fills a lot of coolers too.
Man, it's Alarka's a long way up through there, man.
It is.
It's a long ways up.
How many of those fish have been taken out and put right on the grill?
The lower Nantahala is pretty pretty.
That's the one I was gonna pick.
Yeah. I forgot about. I always think about the lower. You don't think about the lower.
Water on, water off.
Big snowbird.
It's both pretty on water on, water off.
Yeah, I big snowbird. That general area. Yeah, it's absolutely. There's some real pretty water to be.
Well, and the idea with hatchery supported is that it raises fish on its own. It's just getting a little hatchery support so people can take fish and not just completely deplete it.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're already, creeks that are going to stay cold most of the summer. And most of them get stocked in July and even in August. There's some that get stocked in August. So those are obviously some late summer opportunities there. Just obviously, take a thermometer, watch your water temp, and be ethical. But yeah, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
When lower Deep Creek's a good one.
Yeah, I forget about Lower Deep Creek. Yeah, absolutely.
That's probably the most productive, I think.
It's probably one of the most fished too.
Yeah,
I would say.
But Scotts Creek, it offers good populations of wild rainbows for sure, and there's wild browns in there. But when they stock, they put a bunch of brooks in there. They're fun to catch.
Man, look, that trout on your glass done drank all that beer.
Look
at that.
That's a thirsty trout.
Why
Right
don't
there.
you just ain't that a whistling Dixie, boys?
That dude done sucked it down.
Oh man, Dale done throwing in his own sound effects over there. Was that trout doing that? Man, cite that source.
The mountains were blue. I'm just saying. The trout.
Cite that source.
The trout was brown.
Absolutely. When you were starting into fly fishing for trout, did you seek out Hatchery Supported Waters?
No, I didn't really understand all that because I got a ticket one day. So
Dale said, "What's a wildlife rig?" I don't know.
what's the first Saturday in June mean? No,
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly didn't understand the difference between delayed
Yeah.
harvest and hatchery
didn't have a
supported.
clue.
So delayed harvest was like, what is that? Let's go where they threw some fish in. And now, everybody kind of maybe understands more what delayed harvest is versus hatchery.
Gotcha.
So.
in
Sure.
college, all I knew was South River Road, which was dirt at the time.
Yes.
South River Road was
Yes.
catch and release, and it was from the 107 bridge to the bridge at Webster Baptist Church, 116, and that was it.
Mhm.
Mile and a half, maybe 2 miles, and I just knew it was catch and release.
Okay.
I didn't know you could keep it in the summer,
Right.
but I just knew we could go
Okay.
down there and catch some fish, and that was the only place I went
Okay.
because I was a college kid. I wasn't paying extra for fishing in Cherokee,
Sure.
so
I mean, you probably fished a lot of the hatchery supported waters up in Haywood County when you were younger, right? Like certain creeks that maybe they weren't hatchery supported when you were younger.
Right.
Because I don't even know when hatchery supported was developed.
Hatchery Supported.
50s?
Yeah, because I'm in 50, so yes, there were some
But you were
that
born in the 30s. So
I'm looking pretty good to be born in the 30s, baby.
Yeah, man.
Don't get no better.
80's the new
The
50.
Gray Fabio, baby.
So you fished hatchery supported waters growing up,
Yeah,
would
but
say.
I
This would be
didn't
90.
necessarily seek that out either. We were just going there, so I didn't know any different.
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of the fishing was wild water, so I didn't say, "Hey, let's go fish a hatchery supported water."
Yeah.
Now, one that's on the list, it's actually not that we have here. That me and Dad would go fish was the Pacolet River over towards Saluda.
Yeah,
That's a hatchery supported, and I knew that was hatchery supported.
and it's still in
Beautiful
North
area.
Carolina.
Yes, it's in North Carolina.
I wondered that.
Yeah. So I knew that one. We would take a day. He would take a day off work in the
Mhm.
middle of the week, which was very rare. He could do that, but we would go over there, and fish all day. Beautiful area,
Yeah.
of course, and it's still
I've never fished that area.
it's still
over there.
listed on there, and it has a stocking date.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Green River. I need to go fish that. That's a
Yeah.
hatchery supported, and
Yep.
do they have DH?
There's a
on that?
They have a
DH
DH
over
on there,
there
yeah.
as well, and I've never seen the river, in person. I've seen
Yeah.
pictures, but the bridge is so high.
Mhm.
Yeah,
When you
go over
cross
on
it in 26,
it's just
I
trees.
have
baby.
no clue. Yeah.
Baker was telling me that he's got a place down there. He likes to go use a spay rod on the green
Okay.
and does well with it.
Mhm.
So I'd like to check that
Right.
out with him.
There you go. So when we think about, obviously, we know a lot of these creeks exist. Bobby, what are some of your favorite techniques maybe for fishing? Someone that's listening for the first time, how should they attack some of these hatchery supported waters?
Well, you're going to be fishing them in warmer months usually. I mean, not that people don't fish them during the winter, but most of the time it's April and through the summer because they are getting stocked. So dry flies are probably a top priority. Now, if you're going there to get dinner, you might do something a little different, rooster tail, obviously. But from a fly fishing perspective, I'd say, you know, that time of year, dry flies are going to work really well. Obviously, nymphs are a 12-month out of the year game, but spring, summer, and early fall, that's going to be the main thing. You know, your yellow sallies and your elk hair caddis and parachute Adams, stuff like that. It's probably going to work really well. So, you know, streamers could be, the lower Nantahala would be one where streamers could be super effective at times, depending on, you know, what the weather or the water conditions are. So that's one to look at. That's one of the ones where, man, in an hour you could fish nymphs, dries, and streamers probably and catch fish, just because it changes so rapidly. So, you know, pretty much a little bit of everything. But dry flies, I think, is what most fly fishermen would navigate towards summer conditions.
Right.
And that's when you're going to fish these mostly.
Sure.
So
Good hopper dropper times.
yeah, that's terrestrials. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one for
Yeah.
sure. So, yeah, I encourage people to go fish. I think for some reason, and maybe it's just in my head, I feel like some people shy away in the fly fishing community, shy away from hatchery supported because it's like, oh, you can use trebles and all that stuff. But it's like, man, some of it's really good water. You know, don't, and they don't put the numbers in that they do in delayed harvest. Let's be clear, like fish per mile that get stocked, it's not even close. But I think there's still a lot of wild fish to be had, especially in places like a Deep Creek or lower Nantahala. Alarka's got a ton of wild fish, you know, stuff like that. And some are going to be better access than others. The lower Nantahala, super accessible. You know, Alarka, it's a little harder. So that's something to take into perspective too. Is, you know, you may not be able to get to everything, just because some of these do run by property. You know, there's long stretches, but a lot of it's private land. So, I would say fish close to bridges because that's where they're putting the fish in.
Good point. That's a very, very valid point.
You know?
Very good point.
I mean, that's where the state's going to stock them at. They're not going to put a lot of effort in on those, especially being that a lot of these go through land where there's not a road in some instances. You know, the upper Nantahala or lower Nantahala, it's all along the road. But like Deep Creek's example, there's one bridge, and then the rest of it's all private land. So unless the landowner's letting the stocking truck drive down there and dump fish, which is possible at some of those campgrounds,
Sure.
You know, they're probably dropping a lot of them off the bridge.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry,
look for
Mac.
that.
Very good point. That's a very good point, for sure. The one thing that I'll point out there too is it seems like the first couple of weeks of April, when it opens up, those first couple of weekends, it can be real busy.
Yeah.
And then it
Yeah.
starts to really,
Tapers
the pressure tapers off.
And the weird thing I'd say too about like the stocking schedule, unless they've changed something, I haven't looked at it this year. They usually don't put the exact date. It's usually like just the month,
The window, like a week.
or maybe a week, right?
Yeah.
It's like a week window, so you don't really know. Which I wish they would do that with delayed harvest, so you didn't have people just following the truck. It'd be nice if it was just like, yeah, it's getting stocked the first week of the month.
So you bring up a good point.
Yeah,
I can delayed harvest to be the par 3. All right.
par threes can be hard. I mean, some are. You get that 276 yard par 3. That's a little
After
tough.
the 12th beer of Bush Light or something. Yeah, you're right. So I think delayed harvest is the par 3.
Okay.
Number 4 on Augusta ain't easy. I'm just saying. Number 12 on Augusta.
Maybe the beginner par 3.
I'm talking about like,
You're talking about
Intermediate
like the night
par
course in
3.
Cary,
yeah. If
where there's lights on it.
If it's got light poles on it, it might be a delayed harvest. Okay, so, but hatchery supported though, like so. Let's say you're a beginning fisher, you're figuring things out, you're fishing delayed harvest, you're catching a few fish, you're learning, right, and you're trying new techniques. You're
Right.
catching fish, you're learning. It's great. It's got a great purpose. We go out there, we have a lot of fun all spring, into the early summer, and then all fall and winter. It's great. But I had a phone call today, guys. And, you know, I fished with a guide last time, and we tied on an egg pattern, and we just, you know, caught fish after fish after fish after fish. I don't really want that experience this time. I want to learn how to read the water and look, like actually hunt for the fish. Like not to keep, but I want to hunt to like I want to identify the types of water they're sitting in, and basically call your shot in a way, you know. So. And it be a wild fish, and it's okay if it's a stock fish too. I mean, it's fine, but it's a step up in the progression of your abilities to fly fish. Yeah. So it's like going to the big boy course, and is now that also means the access is not going to be quite as good. So that does limit some people. Some people love delayed harvest because it's easy access, physically to get in the water, and that serves a great purpose. But I do think hatchery supported waters are, a little more tricky. You got to be a little stealthier. You can't go in there in that mango shirt. Y'all see this hat I'm wearing? When Columbia makes that shirt, you better not wear that trout fishing. It's bright. It ain't gonna work.
They make an orange one like that.
I've seen it.
I thought it was like that salmon pink.
Yeah, well, they've got a lot of those tropical type colors.
Yeah. Even if it's Carolina blue, you can't do that. So, and if your guide's wearing that on a hatchery supported creek, as Junior says on the Gator show, best of luck to you. That's how they say, best of luck to you.
Well,
now if your guide wears that shirt and you catch 100 fish that day, that guy knows something.
Or the truck was just there.
Nah, I want you to listen. Lord help, Dale. All very valid points. I think that that's a good conversation.
Don't get me wrong, I like par threes, just like Bobby said. They can be fun.
Never been on one.
Me either.
Okay.
We gotta take Shannon to play golf, man.
Yeah, y'all laugh pretty good. That's good. That's real good for sure,
That's
man.
great, y'all. Shut up.
He didn't go to Top Golf with us last year. He went to that concert.
I went to the concert.
Oh, that's right.
I was at the concert. But they do have
Cincinnati.
that's right. They do have the Top Golf in Greenville.
Yeah,
Now we're going down a side.
We should
street.
go.
That was pre-COVID.
Yeah,
They stayed open. Well, they're in South Carolina.
Top
Yeah.
Golf did.
Yeah.
Top Golf is open. Yeah.
Kept getting their emails.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you wanted to golf, you could golf on Conley's and then just make some
That's it,
cast
man.
along the way.
Dang, put your fly rod in the
That's
golf
right,
cart.
man. That's right.
Hey, we're gonna lay this one off. Y'all go ahead of us. We're
Is,
gonna
it-
fish.
is there any ponds on up there at Smoky Mountain?
Not that I've seen.
Say, man, you could actually.
Yeah, just
can
be like,
imagine
we're not
that,
gonna play
seriously.
this hole. We're just gonna let the guys play through behind
That's right.
you.
That's right. Yeah. I think that part of this too on this hatchery supported stuff does include some of the lakes.
It does, and those
So-
I'm not really familiar with, but I
Yeah,
guess like
so-
Glenville gets some, and
So I did read
Yep.
the rules update that you can fish the lakes that are hatchery supported in the month of March.
I mean, you have to because people are bass fishing too, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
they're
just
not
saying,
necessarily.
I've always-
Crappie.
I've
Yeah.
always been confused by it.
Yeah. Yeah, cause like Bear Lake and
Yeah. All those chains. up
yeah.
there.
So,
yeah.
so if I want to float the tuck below Dillsboro, and I'm just like I'm smallmouth fishing,
No. No.
it doesn't work that way.
Hey,
No.
as Junior says, best of luck to you.
Oh my gosh.
Just say it. I mean, what's the difference? Why can't I smallmouth fish
Got-
in March?
Go to Little Tennessee, boy.
Oh my heavens. That's funny. I bet you could do a pretty good Buford T justice, can't you?
Oh yeah,
Well, let's hear it.
Let's
give me another beer.
We don't have that much time left.
Oh man. Absolutely.
And for God's sake, son, don't play with yourself.
He
That's
always-
when he pulled them hippies over.
Oh man, remember he's always gonna say, "Remind me when I get home to slap your mama." Oh man,
Oh goodness.
back
man.
when humor was it was funny, man. Oh, that was the only movie I watched with my nanny and papa, man.
Yeah.
I remember that we went to the theater. We all of us went, man. We laughed. That was a great movie.
I laugh at too. So, sometimes I say some crazy stuff on here. Well, this guy came in last week. And he's like, man, I love listening to the podcast. It's family friendly and everything. I was like, whoops. Especially if there's bourbon or beer on the table.
Oh man, absolutely. Oh man, that was funny. That's funny for sure.
So I invite anybody that's got questions about Hatchery Supported to call us,
Yes.
call the shop, ask us about the water. We'll give you the lowdown. We'll go through like, hey, that one's a little harder to access, anything like that. So help you out if you are interested in, kind of touring around, checking them out. Come April, first Saturday in April.
First Saturday in April.
Yeah, you only technically got 4 days left to fish them, something like that. So
Yeah. Carry you through this weekend at least.
yeah.
It
Y'all-
does carry you through.
You ready for the fishing report?
Dale,
Let's do it.
you're
Hell
up.
yeah.
Hey, don't run that water. I actually had a guy come in, had to use the bathroom because you ran that water.
While he was in the car?
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it. There's that fish. It's a big one. What's eating on, Dale?
He is eating a caddis
Oh, man.
and a squirmy. All right, let's cut that water.
I got it.
It's
It's
about
good.
that time.
It's good.
It's
You're
coming.
good. Keep going,
It's flowing a lot better than it was for you.
man.
That's another conversation.
That's another comment. This fishing report's done going sideways.
Hey, you know.
So what's happening?
Well, I ain't been on the water.
We're supposed to know?
You did the fishing report with Marvin. Yes,
I did, didn't I?
You did.
He talking about the weather.
Was it really? Yeah.
So,
I mean, Preston. What did Preston say today?
oh, it was everything he tied on.
There you go.
I mean, yeah, it was a great day for Preston on the water. You know, I do know from experience that, you know, the back half of February, man, I got to use the bathroom. I got to cut that. The back half of February, you can get a mixed bag of things.
Yes.
You know, you got your black caddis, but like today was 65, tomorrow's 65. So you can get some of those, you know, actually like those March and April hatches like randomly pop just
Yes.
based on water temps.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I saw where Saturday it's going to be raining and 64.
Yeah.
That water is going to warm up tremendously.
It absolutely sure will.
And then if we get a sunny day on the back end of that, man, it's going to pop some really cool hatches.
Yeah.
Quill Gordons could pop.
Yes, it's getting
I've
that
even
time.
seen March Browns that typically are April, but I've seen March Browns kick out in February, just again based on water temps. So that's on the dry fly side of things. Now the nymphs, man, the Prince nymph go to right now, you know, and it doesn't have to be jigged or any of that. And I like a number 10. I feel like the number 10s in the wintertime, that's when I've got my biggest browns. So that's what I do. So,
Shannon's got these sound effects going today.
hey,
Yeah.
I'll take here and drag any day over that water right
Amen.
now. Just say, man, I just downed a beer.
You know, I've never understood the water and having to go to the bathroom.
Dude,
It's
I don't
never
me
bothered me.
neither.
I don't either, but for some reason, sitting down on this podcast, it makes me want to go.
Really?
Yes.
I was not intentional, by the way.
I know. I know.
So we talked about it yesterday about doing it to make sure that you got to go to the bathroom.
We did not.
I'm glad y'all have all these show meetings and production meetings
There's,
without me.
there's no production meeting or show meetings there for sure.
Yeah, I was over here talking about, hey, are we going to talk about this? Is there a plan today?
There's never a plan. There's never
Well,
a
I
plan.
mean, we do put some into it. We do have an idea of what we're going to do.
Yeah.
The best episodes are just
Well,
letting it
some
roll.
of
and we
right.
know from this weekend, you know, we're standing on the porch there at the Best Western where we had our Norvice boot camp, which we need to talk about. There was all kinds of bugs coming
Man.
up on that porch, and it was 45 degrees for the high
That's right.
and 20 at night, and we still had crazy bug hatch.
Yeah, I caught that gray stone
Mm-hmm.
down there and showed some folks for sure. And there was some blooming out olives that came off. I seen some caddis.
Big caddis.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and that, like I said, that's just on the dry fly side of thing. The nymphs, you know, the Frenchie is obviously a good one. The squirmies, you know, certainly a go-to. And I like this time of year. I like that red squirmy.
There you go.
Yep, over the pink. So there you have it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And be careful wading the tuck. You know your limits. It's in the Webster section. It's running, you know, or Cullowhee gauge. It's running 900 pretty consistently.
I had some guys
So,
today that were going to try it in Bryson City. It was 3,000 or what, 3,100.
Yeah,
whatever it was.
31. Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, just know your limits. And they were like,
Yeah.
well, we're going to stay close to the bank. Just try to throw some streamers into the eddies and stuff.
I
And
bet
was
they
like,
didn't get an arm length from the bank.
I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know. Who
Yeah,
knows?
hard to say. Yeah,
Guide tip of the week. You want me to do this one?
sure. Take
What's
it away,
y'all-
Bobby.
Guide tip of the week is dry fly season's coming.
Yes.
It's not far away. Like Dale said, it's 65 today.
Yeah.
So
For some people, it's here.
that's it.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
So biggest thing is have floating.
Mm.
Get
Perfect.
good floating. And we
Yeah.
recommend high and dry. We carry just about every type they have, from the spray to the liquid to the powder, all that stuff. And we got the powder with the brush even. So definitely have good. I think we all think that you should probably have some type of gel or liquid and the desiccant, the powder. It kind of just works and keeps everything floating high. It's not bad to have that dry fly sink a little bit, but when they're wanting to eat it up high, you need to have as good of floating as possible. So definitely go ahead and check that. Make sure you got it in your supply.
I don't think
And-
it messes up CDC either.
No, so that's right. The one thing about the high and dry product that Bobby was mentioning is recommending is it works for all types of bugs,
Mm-hmm.
all types of dry flies there,
Yeah.
and it's also environmentally friendly.
That's
And
right.
it's not harmful to us.
Yeah. When your guide says, hey, try not to get this stuff on your fingers,
Probably should worry.
maybe you shouldn't be using
That's
that.
right. That's right.
Because it's pretty much kerosene.
Yeah. The one thing I remember, is coming back out, for those warm fishing days, and it's mostly dry fly, and you've got that, the other floatant, and then it's like junk.
Yeah.
It's junk. We just forget about it. You think about tippets and you think about flies, but you don't think about dressing your fly.
Yeah, that's it. That's the reason you need to go check it now, so you have it
Absolutely
when you need it.
Because when
Go ahead and
people,
replace
Because
it.
if you got that one brand that's just all oil, 3-in-1 oil, it's done leaked out in your pack.
It's
I
leaked.
promise you.
it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And even in the summer, you
Not
think
naming
about that
names.
stuff in the summer when it gets hot, and it just it liquefies.
Yeah, a good quality gel floatant shouldn't be totally liquid. A little bit is okay, but it should still have like that gel consistency.
Absolutely.
Still have that.
Yeah.
There you
that's
go.
it.
The brush applicator bottle is a tall bottle. It's got the nice brush on it. There for your CDC feathers for coating if you want to use that one. I prefer the liquid with the bottle that I drop my fly into after it's attached to my tippet. Be very clear about that. That one. But
You
the
got people with a dozen flies in that bottle.
I want
How
to
do
be
I get 'em
very
out?
be very clear on that. The spray bottle, I seems to be a lot of the float guides like that one. They'll spray it off the side of the boat there to coat the flies, and the desiccant powder and does a really great job. So I like to use a couple in unison in some cases there. So very good, very, very good tip. And it's getting right for some dry fly
That's right.
It
activity
is.
here.
We're going to have good days where it's going to pop off, and you're going to be like, man, I didn't bring my floater.
Especially if you get a chance to float the tuck in Bryson City. The flows come down around 2,000 if we can stop getting a little bit of rain. But, man, I've had some incredible days fishing dries down there on that stretch. And even some up here in Jackson County, certainly. But, yeah, it's good. It's good.
Good.
It is.
Good.
It's really
Then
good.
I have one more public service announcement.
Yes.
It's about the national park.
Please.
So I've seen some stuff on social media about people updating other people about the masks in the national park, being that it was signed in under an executive order that federal property you have to wear a mask. So, and y'all correct me if you've heard different, but from what I understand, it's when you're around other people. So if you're at a visitor center, a bathroom facility, at an overlook that's really crowded, things like that, campgrounds.
Popular trails.
Yes, really, really popular trails where you're going to be right around people you don't know. That's when you need to be wearing a mask. If you're on a stream fishing by yourself, they're not going to enforce the mask regulation. So, that's what we've been told. That's what we've heard. So,
Although today
here we go.
we put to use the practicality of the face covering as a fly patch.
There you go. That's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
So,
We did. It's on our Instagram story right now.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's up.
Oh my gosh.
It says sale.
Let me be clear. Let me be
Don't hook
clear.
your lip.
Do not.
Gosh.
I repeat, do not hook yourself. We are not liable for your decision. Are we now legally covered?
I guess so.
Well,
So
Do
anyways,
that at your own risk.
so if you're wearing your fly patch as your face covering, you're covered in the national park.
I guess so.
No
But
pun
you don't have
intended.
to.
Yeah. So don't let that deter you of fishing in the national park.
That's right.
The other thing that I've seen a lot of is people talking about all the roads closed in the national park and stuff like that. They do close 441 when it's inclement weather, when there's ice or snow, which we've had quite a bit of snow
Yeah.
up top this
Yes.
year. So when you see that, it's because they're clearing the road and getting it open back up so it's safe for you to travel. That doesn't mean it's closed for the season. I've seen a lot of people put that up like, yeah, it's closed, you can't do it. And that's not the case. But you do need to monitor if it's closed because of weather. Same thing like what they do with the Blue Ridge Parkway every year. Sometimes it's open in the winter because it's 70 degrees and we haven't had any snow in the last 4 weeks. And then this year it's been closed mainly. I'm sure they had some rock slides up there this year from the freeze.
Oh, I'm sure there has
Pushing
to be
rocks off
some,
and
man.
stuff. So,
Absolutely.
that's part of the reason the Blue Ridge Parkway might be. It might take a while for it to open because they got to clear all that stuff. So. Just know that you can fish in the park without a mask as long as you're not fishing with 12 other people right there shoulder to shoulder, and you can go hiking and stuff, and you don't have to worry about it. Like they're not that stringent. It's more of the visitor centers, the bathroom locations, the group campground facilities, stuff like that.
Where it's hard to social distance.
That's right. That's right. So don't let that deter you to get out there and enjoy the park and places around. So
Yeah. On the road closures,
Yeah.
where can folks go to find that information?
where I've always gone is on the Twitter page for
Twitter
for
is
Great Smoky Mountain National Park.
They are on it on
Yes.
Twitter.
You can access that via the Great Smoky Mountain National Park website under closures, and they
Yeah.
direct you right, and you can read it. So
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
not subscribed or a Twitterer,
I think
You
it's
can still-
GSMNP road closures.
you can look at it there and
Yeah.
see that. So they
For
update
the
that.
Parkway, the Blue Ridge Parkway, I always just look at the map and it shows it's black, and I'm like, yeah, it's closed.
There you go. So
It's
those
got the black line on it.
so there you go, folks. Those resources are out there available. On the mask thing is common sense.
Yeah.
People were doing this anyway, Beavis, and so that had been going on there for some time anyway.
Yeah.
And I just it's just common sense.
Just face it, people.
Just get out and fish. Enjoy it. It belongs to us. Let's take care of it and let's
That's
get out and
it.
enjoy it.
Yep. Be polite.
It's the best social distancing there.
Be polite.
Be polite. So you wanted to hit on the Norvice boot camp?
Man, I cannot believe how successful that was in terms of, people were able to make it just, where they were coming from. There's some pretty crappy weather for most of them. They got here. Everybody got here safe. That was number one. Number two, man, I think everybody was beginners. I think there was one participant who had been time for a few months, but they were all, brand new to Norvice and the concept. And I really wished I had been a participant. I was super jealous, and I purchased one this weekend and took it home and set it up. And I was like, man, what'd they say how to do that? I wish I could have been there the whole time to hear how to set up some of these things. I'm texting Shannon, and he's like, why are you texting me? I'm off. But
I did not.
you didn't know. I know. I felt bad. I was like, man, how do you remember what's on the spool?
Look at that look he's giving you.
About 8 hours later, I got a response. He said, I just remember. I was like, yeah, I'd already figured that out.
Yeah. Watching the Roval.
So,
That's it.
but I was amazed. I think Casey had done a Facebook Live for Braden or maybe Norvice, I don't know. But she asked, what's your favorite part? And I was just like, the food. Because I was on the spot. It's my answer to everything. Like, what's your favorite thing? Food.
The wine.
The wine was good. Yes. But that was only one night. So my favorite part was just seeing the flies that these folks were able to tie with y'all's instruction. They looked amazing. And, it's like, learning a first language, and that's why I wanted to see these people immerse in it. And it was amazing to see. And, if you've tied with a traditional setup and then switch to Norvice, there's a learning curve. But if you come into this thing as a beginner, trying to tackle Norvice as a beginner is so much easier. And I saw it happen. Dawn texted me today. She caught a fish on the caddis pattern that you taught her, and it looked like a great pattern too. I mean, it's fishable.
Yeah, she did a good job on
And
that.
it tricked a wild fish. So
Shannon taught it, but I stood there and helped her.
Yeah, y'all did.
I don't want to take any credit
Well,
for
that's
the fish.
that's where it was, though. It was a team effort.
oh yeah, it was all
a
hands
lot.
on deck.
It was. It was. It was a good time. Definitely at
Shannon passed the stone. It was a successful weekend.
not there, but I did. He went into-
Like a champ.
Listen. So Thursday about 12:30, I'm sitting here, just finished eating a small salad, and I done thought one of y'all come up from behind and stuck your arm into my back and grabbed something and just twisted it
Because
and
we're
didn't
that
let
kind
go.
of employers.
Because no, I mean, someone
I know what you
that
mean.
just went on. It never stopped, folks. The pain never went away. I had kidney stones nearly 20 years ago. This was different. I eventually had to make it to the ER. And then they do the CT scans. Oh, by the way, you got a 3 millimeter stone, right? So they get this. I did pass it, but when I walk in here Friday, somebody had been over at the fly tying beads and figuring out how big a 3 millimeter stone was going to be. Remember? Right?
Yeah, because
I mean,
at first
that's
you
what
hear
it is.
3 millimeter, like, yeah, it's only 3 millimeter.
Yeah.
But then when you say a bead, you're like, ooh,
Oh,
with spikes.
it gets better. There's the bonus to this.
The bonus.
There's two more.
But wait, there's more.
There's two more. They're 7 millimeter apiece.
Man,
Yeah. So there's more to this
You
story.
gonna tie fly with them?
that'd actually be cool. Make that a bead.
Oh my gosh.
Tie that on.
Man.
Yeah.
Put them in a shadow box.
Oh my heavens.
You know.
Wow. So yeah, so I wasn't for sure how I would be. When I went to the ER, I was planning. I didn't think it was a stone. Something's going on here.
Oh, me and Bobby are like, oh man, we're gonna have to pick up the slack.
We're
teach a
I'm like
pattern.
totally done.
Oh, I was totally
Right.
ready. Like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to teach a pattern
absolutely.
on this.
So when I went there to show them the room and how we were going to set it up, man, I was hurting.
Yeah.
I was hurting. I was not me. But Friday was better. I was still hurting, but I was better Friday. But by golly, Saturday morning,
We just thought you were on drugs.
There was a vast improvement Saturday morning. Let's
Yeah.
just say that. But yeah, we got through it. though. I mean,
you persevered, man.
it was
Amazing to see.
yeah.
Um,
There was a lot of persevering that weekend with some.
man,
with
it
some
was great.
things
The
there,
food,
but
the
was
food was good.
Yep.
Personalities were great.
Yep.
And kudos to Bogarts and Haywood Smokehouse, River and Rail, Bojangles.
Bojangles pulled
Yeah.
through too.
Yeah,
They did.
twice.
Yep.
Absolutely. Also with Norvice, I mentioned this. Thank you, folks. If any of you folks voted for me in the
Oh,
first
yeah, big
round
news.
of the Fly Tying March Madness competition this year, I appreciate that. Definitely out of my element doing the bait fish pattern. And I looked at Tanya and I said, "Look, if I'm going down swinging." And I tied a micro.
It's like somebody's storming this house.
Oh, I mean, I was going down. I'm like, dude, here, you got to go. I think you go in all the
Get your
way or
gat.
you don't, right? All right. So I knew what it took last year to win this thing. And I'm like, I'm going all in. So I took and I tied a micro bait fish game changer
I wish you had it so you could hold it up.
out of some Indian henback feathers there with a little bit of, rabbit fur up around the dumbbell eyes. That I think will fish really well here, and that was my goal, was to tie something that I thought would fish here for us. It wasn't a white one. It wasn't 8 inches.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing is less than 2 inches long, but there's 3 shanks and then the hook, so it's very small and delicate work.
You got all sexy with that photo too, didn't he? Though.
Let me tell you something.
Man,
I mean, he
Yeah.
did.
Thanks for your help there, Mike.
Trying to keep it family here.
But a lot of this too, though, is it boils down to the photo.
yeah.
This competition,
Yeah.
how do you present that fly?
Mhm.
Yeah.
How do you present that pattern? So I appreciate that. I'll move on to the round of 32.
Where can they find this at?
This will be on the Norvice Facebook page.
Okay.
So go to the Norvice Facebook page. The right side brackets, first rounds will be this Friday and Saturday. And then Sunday, they will do the random draw to know what the next pattern will be.
Okay.
So it could be anything from a saltwater pattern. It could be a dry fly.
Mhm.
It could be a musky fly.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
Kidney
So
stone fly, baby.
could be. Maybe
Coming.
that could be what takes us all the way.
Hey, if you incorporated that into one of these flies, that
Dude.
would be awesome.
Yeah, I'd pay money to see that.
I would too. You need to somehow and make it known.
You think you could get it through the hook?
No, you may have to epoxy it to it somewhere. Imagine is the
Oh,
head
yeah,
maybe.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
hey,
You know?
when you know you're up against the guy that's like, yeah, I'm probably not going to beat this guy. Do it. Like, use the kidney stone.
We'll call it the
Just the kidney. This is the kidney stone fly.
it's a kidney stone fly.
Come on, man.
Do it. Do it.
No pain, no gain.
Do it.
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't know where to start, but anyway.
Well, be on the lookout for the next Norvice boot camp. We're going to try to scaffold them, have, like a 201 course for folks that have been tying for a while and maybe already have a Norvice. And if you don't and you want to make that switch, but processes, that's a good one to jump in. And then we'll also do some more beginner stuff.
Good point. Yeah. We definitely learned a lot, probably as much as they did.
Oh, man, every time it's going to get better.
Absolutely. Good deal. Excellent show, guys. Appreciate everybody listening and tuning in. Just remember, if you are driving down the road getting some windshield time and you want to kind of watch some of this, see some of the graphics, things like that, see the shop, man. These new camera angles are showcasing a lot of things here in the shop. Be sure to go over to our YouTube channel, Tuckasegee Fly Shop. Have any questions or comments, certainly feel free to leave those. I want to thank everybody for doing that. We got a lot of positive feedback. Appreciate the guys from Good Buddy Fly Fishing last week being on here. A lot of great feedback from that. I answered more questions today about some fishing up in the park and stuff, I believe there. So people are reaching out to us.
That's right.
And that means that we are reaching you.
Yeah, that's it.
That's why we do this. We like to have fun, but thank you for sure. And
Any other questions, email Shannon's Kidney Stone at tuckflyshop.com.
hey, if you've had kidney stones and you have any advice,
Hey,
drop me a line.
If we made that email, how many people do you think would email it? Like if we put that up,
Lisa would.
Lisa would.
it'd be pretty fun.
Lisa was funny, but she was genuine.
Yep.
I mean, you know, we had a good time with it. You just let your imagination roam. Let's just leave it at that.
There we go.
Perfect. So next week we'll hop into another exciting topic right there, and hope everybody has a great week. That wraps up another exciting and informative episode of the Tuckcast with a splash of bourbon, presented by Tuckasegee Fly Shop and Guide Service, located at 3 Depot Street, Bryson City, North Carolina, and 530 West Main Street, Sylva, North Carolina. Be sure to visit www.tuckflyshop.com for streamflow information, book a guided trip, or even shop for your favorite Tuckasegee Fly Shop gear. Follow the crew on Facebook at Tuckasegee Fly Shop, Instagram at Tuck Fly Shop, and on YouTube at Tuckasegee Fly Shop. If you have a question or comment, feel free to send those to info@tuckflyshop.com or give us a call, 1-828-488-3333. For Coach Dale Diesel Collins, Bobby the Bearded Wonder Bennett, I'm Shannon, Big Mess Messer. We'll catch you next week. Be sure to catch a few fish out there, won't you? Y'all take care.